Hi, everybody. Hi, Jonah.
Hello, I'm really happy to be with you this evening.
Great. Oh, it looks like we're having a little technical difficulty. It says this broadcast was deleted on Facebook. So let's see. Oh, that's okay. It's on one of our Facebooks it didn't go live with, but that's okay. Oh, right. Sorry about that. So how are you doing this evening?
Well, I just also want to let you know, so my mom's telling me she can't get on it right now. I don't know if that's the Facebook problem, which you just told me about.
Maybe. What Facebook group is she in?
It says it's Instagram.
The live doesn't go live to Instagram. It only goes live to our Facebook page, group, and to YouTube.
Okay, sounds good.
So we had a little technical difficulties. I'm going to try to get that fixed here. Normally we have someone else on our team who is helping us, but tonight it is just me. Let me see if I can get this to go live for us. So Jonah, why don't you let everyone who's watching know about what project you just made for us?
The project that I'm working on right now, or the blanket?
The blanket. Why don't you tell everybody about the blanket that you that we're here to talk about today, the Teza Throw.
So yes, just like you led into, the Teza Throw is a blanket that I made in collaboration with Furls, and it's a crochet kit, and the proceeds from the blanket itself will go to helping me raise money for my charity project. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. But first up is the actual blanket. I'll unfold it here to give you a better perspective of the entire thing. And I made it in 4 different colors, plus an additional neutral color. I made it in this beautiful kind of deep blue, and then like a golden kind of ambrosia color. And then this one right here is a nice light sage. And then I thought it would be the best color to match it off with, this nice kind of sunset pinkish red color. And then for like the contrasting color and everywhere else where I didn't choose a color, I chose a little bit of a darker cream because I think that really offset it well. And then the way I designed it was that I made a whole set of motifs, and in the center of each motif, it starts out being round, as you can see here. I start off with a little bit of a single crochet, some double crochet, more single crochet rounds, and then I decided and took some inspiration from a common crochet design called the African flower, and then I decided to adapt it in a way where you could add some more texture and make it 3D for a blanket. So then I added all of these loops, and then I was able to plait or braid them together, and then I decided that I wanted to make my motifs into squares. So off of that circular base, I worked some rows of double crochet mesh, and then right here, I worked some overlapping rows of double crochet with the color for a little bit more texture, and then I finished it off with some more mesh. And I repeated that in all of the different colors and laid them out in an alternating pattern, and then I joined them with this lace join where the colors interweave back and forth. And then my favorite part, which I think really adds a beautiful touch and brings it all together, is for the border, I decided to use and crochet with a modified alpine stitch. And what this does is that you have the stitches overlapping each other, and it went from the lightest to the darkest, from the sage to the golden color to the sunset, and then the blue, and then I put a little bit of cream all around it.
So it's beautiful. We love it, obviously. We have a lot of people joining us, a lot of people following. I've been putting comments. Someone who is following us is Roots Ethiopia, which Roots Ethiopia is the charity that you do a lot of work with. It's the charity that the proceeds from the sale of this blanket are going to go towards. So to let everyone know, you can purchase the kit to make your own Teza Throw. I'm going to put the post. Oh, sorry, my cats are going a little crazy. I'm going to put the link here in the chat. You can go to Furls Crochet and find it, but you can also purchase the actual blanket. So I'm going to put that here as well. And Jonah was sharing with me before we went live the the project that the raffle of this blanket is going to fund. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about Roots Ethiopia and about what the blanket is going to help Roots Ethiopia with.
Before I start talking about Roots Ethiopia and specifically this blanket and how it's going to assist my charitable work, I have to start with a brief explanation of my story.
So yeah, good idea. Let's do that.
I was born in a very rural, very not well-off village in Ethiopia called Durami, and it's very, very rural, and they did not have like a proper school, library, science lab, restrooms, or even desks, which I'll be mentioning later. And after my mom and dad adopted me at a very young age, like 3 to 6 months or so, and they brought me to the United States, and now I live in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and I'm able to have all those wonderful things that we take for granted sometimes, like a library and going to a nice school and all those things. And my mom was really the one that came up with the idea, so the credit goes to her. And I've always really loved to read. I've been an avid reader. And one of the values she's always instilled in me, as well as my younger sister Mercy and older brother Leif, is how important giving back to others is. And then she came up with the idea that I could use my crochet not only to make beautiful things, which I love, but I'm also able to do good with it and help others. And so it was perfect because Roots Ethiopia is an organization that works in that same area where I was adopted from, but they're also based out of Madison, which isn't too far away from where I'm located in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were located in Wisconsin.
Yes, it's really nice. It worked out well. And then from there, we were able to work with thousands of my crochet followers, as well as my mom and people from Roots Ethiopia and many others. And we were able to complete a library for the Teza school in Ethiopia. And that library serves over 2,000 students, well, the entire school, I should say. It has 3,000 books, a younger kids and an older kids section, tutoring for the older kids to get caught up, because numerous times they'll have to skip school and they'll fall behind because they have to work in the fields and it's harvesting season and all those natural things that happen because, people have to follow the agricultural role and how things go. And then there's also a trained librarian, which is unheard of in that area. And because of the library's success and what an impact it had, we as a group with my mom, my crochet followers, and Roots Ethiopia decided to go on to the next step, which was a science lab, because I've always really enjoyed science as well. And now they have all the microscopes, lab coats, goggles, and fully equipped science lab that they need, as well as a teacher who has an award from the Ethiopian government.
Wow.
Because we wanted to get this to a level 4 school, which is the highest the school can go in the rankings in Ethiopia. We also added a new latrine for the female students to offer them some more privacy because the bathroom situation they had prior was not adequate to serve over 2,000 students.
Awesome. That's some great stuff.
Yes, and keep in mind this has been over 2 years and there's a lot of people helping, especially I'm sure some of the people watching today. And the last thing that we want to do before we even think about any other projects is desks. Currently, there's 3 classrooms in the school that don't have any desks at all, and I can just imagine it would not be great to learn sitting on the cold floor, and in many cases, dirt floors in Ethiopia. And so each desk costs around $50 to make, and based on how much this blanket costs, and my mom will help me put it up on my website, someone buying this blanket will take care of 30 desks for one of the 3 classrooms. So this blanket alone will take care of 33% of the next part of our project.
Wow, that's amazing. So I posted the link and I'll share it again a little bit later. If you're interested in buying the blanket that Jonah's hands actually made, then you can go over there and get it. So we have a lot of people watching. We have some people from Wisconsin. I just saw the comment. Waukesha, Wisconsin. So we have a lot of people watching, which is great. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, you told us about the blanket, you told us about Roots Ethiopia. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your your favorite Furls hook, because we talked a little bit about what your favorite was earlier.
I actually have some right here. I'll grab them.
My cat's coming to say hi.
Yes, I love pets too. I have 2 dogs. One's Bella and the other one's named Charlie. And back to the Furls hooks. I love all of their crochet hooks, but there's a certain few that I like in particular, and they're all for different projects. Like the wood streamline ones, for example, are nice when I'm working on a project where I'm using like a slicker fabric, more of like a bamboo, maybe like a little bit of cotton mixed in there. And then my favorite one, I have 3 of them here, are the streamlined swirls. I believe this one's the Virgo one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Pisces, you said, and I forgot
Yep.
what it's called.
That one's the Aries.
Yes, and I really love to use these because they're super smooth and I can crochet really fast with them. And then the Odysseys, I like to use in the larger size when I'm working with a thicker yarn because I feel as it gives me more leverage to keep my stitch tension even.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. Pam and I were just talking about this yesterday or last week, which ones we use. And we use the Odyssey usually with thinner yarn, but it's a good point to use it with the thicker yarn to help balance the weight out.
Yeah, with thinner yarn, I like to use sometimes the wood one, the wood streamlines, or just the streamlined swirl, because I feel like it's a little lighter to kind of go with a lighter weight yarn. But I can definitely see where it'd be the opposite depending on how you crochet.
Wakisha got the maybe the proper pronunciation. Let's see. Lots of people from all around. Let's see. Someone asked, did the colors you choose for your sample blanket have any significant meaning for Teza?
The colors I chose for my blanket have significant meaning for like the landscapes and that kind of thing in Ethiopia. Like the golden color down here is similar to the color of teff, which is a type of grain grown in Ethiopia. And then I chose this beautiful pink color to resemble their sunsets. And then this blue in certain parts of Ethiopia, in like the mountainous ranges, the mountains have like a blue tint to them at certain times of the day with the light and everything. And then of course I chose the green color just to kind of resemble the natural agriculture, and it was just a really beautiful color to fit with the other 3 to kind of balance it all out with 2 brighters and 2 colors that are a little bit softer.
Well, we love them. We think the color combination is great. Marlene wanted to ask if you are the only crocheter in your family.
I am the only crocheter in my family, except for my little sister Mercy. She likes to do a little bit of it, but she likes to do single crochet and double crochet and more simple stitches like that, not as much as I love to do it.
Deviter wants to know how long it took you to make your blanket.
So I will say, depending on how fast you crochet, because I have been crocheting for 9 years, it might take you quite a bit longer. But the thing about this blanket is I decided to make it into a throw, because with this kind of blanket, it'll take a while with each of these motifs and having the braid in the center, and it will be time consuming. So I decided to make it a little smaller, but then also to save time and to give it a little bit more elegance and make it a little bit more beautiful and lightweight, I decided to add those mesh stitches in there, both along the seams where I'm joining it, and then throughout the motifs as well, because the center of the motifs is so like decorated with that braid in the center and around the edges too, where overlap the stitches. I did that to make it go a little quicker, and it also balanced it all out, because that's my favorite part and aspect of this blanket. And I didn't do it in one sitting. I did it in chunks, like maybe 4 squares at a time. So I put all the time together. The total time this blanket probably took me was maybe 10 hours or so, give or take. I was designing it.
Oh, wow. Yes, we have Wynette writes, she's in awe of how fast you crochet, and you do crochet very, very fast. Faster than most people who have been doing it for even longer than 9 years. Susan wants to know where you get your inspiration for your designs. So not just the Teza Throw, but where do you get inspiration for all of the designs that you make? You can show everyone what you're making right now. You showed me before we went live.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on a Christmas hot pad, and it's double-sided. So on the first side here, by the way, this is a dot border that I'm working on up here. It's a technique that I've learned in the past few days. And on this side, the first side here, it's a candy cane. And then if you flip it over, on the second side, it's a Christmas tree. And I took inspiration from this because I saw another pattern that had a candy cane and then a Christmas tree, but I thought I should modify it so that it'll be on either side. And then I decided to put a row of color around the edge and then add a dot border, and I really love the way it's turning out. But back but back to where, and also this pattern is, if anyone wants to see it, the different version of it where it has a solid backing as opposed to two images on both sides. It's from Daisy Farm Crafts. These
We
farm
we love her. I got to meet her in person just in June when I went to the CGOA festival. So that was fun.
Yeah, she has beautiful things. My favorite stuff from her is usually her velvet yarn, but I love this hot pad pattern as well.
Awesome.
But back to where I get my inspiration. A lot of my inspiration comes from just everyday life and also things that I see in the crochet community. Like the inspiration for this blanket was from Ethiopia and just kind of the country itself. But all the colors I choose from, a lot of that I gotta give credit to my mom. So what we do is we find a pattern or we design a pattern that we really like, and then we both go downstairs to our yarn wall or in this room to our create room and look at our yarn choices, and we'll just pick from what we have, and the colors always turn out beautiful. And it's those color combinations that people don't expect that are always the best, in my opinion.
Me too. I like things that you don't think would go great together. Davida also wants to know which hook you use for your blanket. So we talked about your favorites, but which one do you use for this blanket?
For this blanket, I don't have it next to me, but I used that 4 millimeter wood streamline, and if I'm remembering correctly, it's the darkest one you have. I think it's ebony wood.
Ebony. Yep, ebony is our darkest one. That's my favorite too.
Yeah, because I wanted a little more grip to make sure that all my stitches were gonna be even. And when I was working the braids, I didn't want to have any slips slide in or anything. So it helped me maintain a beautiful tension for this blanket, which is really important because if your tension's off, you'll see it for sure with this blanket.
Good point. We so Crystal also did a video tutorial for anyone who's maybe a little intimidated by the blanket. So there is a video tutorial that you can watch that you get with the kit. And do you have any special tips other than tension, which we just talked about? Is there anything else that you would recommend for someone who is making the blanket?
Well, first I have two things. Number one, it does look very difficult, but it's by no means as hard as it looks. For example, there's no very difficult stitches in here. It's actually just double crochet for the outside ring, just put in different spots. A majority of the contrasting color, or cream in my case, is just double crochet mesh stitches. And the braid in the center is actually just loops put together. You're not crocheting an actual braid. So I hope that helps clear up anything for people that thought this was going to be super difficult. And then the other thing is, make sure that you block your blanket. I know it takes a lot of extra time and you might not have even blocked before, but it really helps get those nice straight edges after you seam it all together with your crochet stitch. And when you've spent this much time on such a beautiful blanket, you should really take the time to block it and just add that nice finishing touch.
Very, very true. Trying to get through all of our comments. Is there anything else that you want to share with the Furl audience, or any place that they can stop by to get to see more of your work?
Well, you can always look at my Instagram and Facebook at Jonah Hands or Jonah's Hands, depending. And also my website too, jonahhands.com, for some of my other crocheted items that I've made, patterns that I recommend. And of course, I have links on there to donate to Roots Ethiopia and all those other things, which I'd love for you to go check them out.
I'm actually going to grab some of your social media links now so that I can share them with our audience. I think a lot of the people joining us today already know who you are and follow you, but there may be some new people to you. So let's get them over there to see all the great things you do.
Yes, thank you very much. I was just so grateful when I had an opportunity to show this blanket because it's so meaningful and I put quite a bit of time in it, and also I had to design it with my mom and we picked out the colors and it just turned out beautifully. And it's not all the time that your designs work out, but I'm sure glad it did this time.
That is true. They don't always work out, but this one came out fabulous. So we've been working with you for a while to get this one done. So we reached out to you a bit. I've known you for a long time, a couple years now, and we were really excited to be able to work with you over at Furls. So thank you for doing the blanket for us.
Well, I should be the one thanking you because not only have I been able to, get so much more help from you for my charitable organizations, I've also been able to make a beautiful blanket, and I'm sure all the people watching today, if they get the kit, will love to make this blanket as well.
I agree. This one was fun to do. I'm going to pop the link for that again, and also the link where people can go to purchase the blanket themselves. So the blanket that you made is available for purchase. And for anyone who's just joining us, the purchase of that blanket will go to purchasing 30 desks for the school that Jonah is helping to sponsor. I'm sorry, Jonah, what's the name of the school again?
It's called the Teza School, and that's why it's called the Teza Throw.
I forgot the second part of the name of it. Let's see. All right, now here is the link where you can go to purchase the blanket itself. So usually, Jonah, we give away some things when we have people watching our live. I'm going to give away a couple gift certificates. So what we usually do is I will scroll through the comments and our guest will tell me when to stop, and then we will pick who's gonna win. So we'll do one now. We'll do one in a little while before we end our live today. But would you like to, I'm gonna start scrolling. Would you like to tell me when to stop?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, you let me know.
You can stop. Vicky
Paz, congratulations. You have won a $50 gift certificate from Furls Crochet. So you can, we're gonna have you email support at crochetfoundry.com, which is our sister site, and let us know that you are the winner of the $50 gift card, and we will get that over to you within 24 hours. So for those of you who don't know, Crochet Foundry is Furls' sister site. It's our crochet magazine, and we have lots of patterns in there. And I don't know, maybe we'll get Jonah to design something for our magazine next.
I would definitely like to look at that. I also love taking a lot of inspiration from like the crochet magazines, which come out like ahead of time, so I can start making my winter things in summer and get all my designs prepped and get it set together.
Awesome. Zebby wants to know how young you were when you first started crocheting.
I was 5 years old at the time, and I'm 14 now, so I've been doing it for 9 years.
Wow. Crochet Me Pink says, awesome way to go, Mom. Your mother is amazing. So I've known your mother for a while also, and it's great to have a mother who cares, who puts so much energy into their child's passions. So we love that.
Yeah, she is a great mom. I was very lucky to be adopted by her.
Jonah is incredibly well-spoken. One of the things that we always say is that we're amazed that someone who is so young has the grace at which you carry yourself. So we love that. We love working with you. Let's see. So someone asked, did you block the squares before joining? We have probably answered since then, but yes, Amy, Jonah said that was one of the things that he would recommend to people, to make sure you block your squares.
Well, actually, not necessarily. I actually did not block my individual squares.
Oh, you did the whole blanket?
Yeah, I put them all together and then I blocked the entire blanket. But I kind of blocked the squares because I blocked them in squares and the whole blanket at the same time. If that kind of makes sense. Like I blocked it down the seams of squares are being joined.
Each of the squares, yep. Karen wants to know if there's a project that you think will be a challenge that you haven't tried yet.
There's so many different types of crochet out there. Matter of fact, I've just started working on Tunisian crochet, and I know Furls. I don't know if you still have them, but had some really nice
We are
crochet.
coming out with some new Tunisian hooks pretty soon, so we're working on a updated design.
I'll be looking forward to those because I know they're really nice. And I've also started to do a little bit of knitting now, but I'm by no means great at it. And new different stitches, like some cable techniques, some mesh stitch techniques, and you know what I'm really working on right now is like slipping one purl eyes to kind of make like herringbone designs and all that, and also brioche knitting. That looks really cool, and I'm working on figuring that out too.
I always say I'll do knitting that'll be my hobby when I retire. Sherry bought the kit and she's looking forward to getting started. Make sure you share your progress with us, Sherry, in the Fun with Furls group or the Crochet Foundry Makes group. Lots of people joining us. Let's see. Debbie says her grandson is a fantastic finger crocheter. And what kit would you recommend for him to use to take the next step? Well, I don't know if we necessarily have a kit, but what project would you recommend for someone who's 6 now, who's going from finger crocheting to regular crocheting?
Well, that's actually really nice because on my website I actually have kits that are geared towards beginners, like they're beginner projects that are great for kids or anyone for that matter. And they're like like a little small crocheted animal or a hat or something that uses very basic stitches and already has everything put together. So you can take the leap from finger crocheting, which is a great way to start, to the next step of crocheting with the hook.
Awesome. I'm going to link the main page on your website so that people can check out the other things that you have. Ooh, this is always one that we hate to do. What was the process like for weaving in all those ends?
Trust me, it was not fun, but I did it in a good way. And I also, something my mom always tells me every time, like I'm working on a blanket where I do a lot of color work. She's like, look at it with a good perspective. Every time you weave in an end, that's one end closer to being done. So, with that perspective, I went in it, and I also wove in the ends of each square as I went, so I didn't amass a bunch of ends that I had to weave in at the end. So that was a big relief for me as well. But it's not as many as you think because with the way that each motif is constructed, it gives you an opportunity to weave in your ends and then crochet over them so that they're secure but also not bulky in this like pretty lightweight and dainty blanket.
That's a good tip. Speaking of tips, Megan wants to know what your best crochet tip for fellow crafters is.
Is this one pertaining to actual stitches or
Whatever you want it to be, your best crochet tip.
That's a tough one, but my favorite crochet tip that I tell people is lots of times in patterns, especially for half double crochet or double crochet for that matter. It'll probably say chain 2 for half double crochet or chain 3 for double crochet. I prefer not to do that, and instead if I'm working half double crochet, I'll work a chain 1 and then work into the same stitch, or I'll work chain 2 and then skip that stitch. Because I find when you don't count your beginning chain as a stitch, it kind of creates those awkward edges. So that's just a tip that I follow by myself.
Good. Roots Ethiopia again. We'll talk about a little bit more about the blanket itself, and that for people watching, or you can tell your friends that they can actually purchase the blanket that Jonah made himself, and that the funds from that will go to putting desks into the Teza Gerber school that Jonah is helping Roots Ethiopia with raising funds for. So I just put the link for that again. Let's see. Oh, Frances has 2 of your books that are autographed. She loves them.
That's one. I made that when I was 11 with help of my mom, and from there I've been able to do so much more, like this blanket kit, another book, but this time it was a pattern book, which is also centered around giving back. So it's nice to look back on that and know that everything that has blossomed from that.
Awesome. Whitney wants to know if you still want to be a surgeon.
I'm definitely still looking into it, and that's still the path I'm set on. But as you go through high school and take different classes and all these different opportunities come your way, things can definitely change and might turn out way differently. But I'm still keeping it in mind, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
You never know. Roots Ethiopia said that the school children consider you their brother. It's very sweet.
Yes, it's so many times they've sent videos. Well, the director that we've been working with, Megan Walsh, she'll send my mom videos that the kids at the school sent me, and they're speaking in English, which that makes it all the more. It gets heartwarming because I have to take the time to learn the phrase, and they're thanking me for the school and saying they wish I would visit, and that really makes me feel good. But it also makes me appreciate all the work that so many people have put in. Um, Not just me, my mom, my crochet followers, the people at Roots Ethiopia, into doing what we've done.
Awesome. I'm putting the link here for Roots Ethiopia's Facebook page so people can follow them along to see everything that's happening there. I see, I'm assuming your mom's in the background putting some links in that she put the website for Roots Ethiopia, which is great. Kathleen says, love your tutorials. She taught her granddaughter how to crochet using your tutorials, and she thinks you're amazing.
That's great. I always love when anyone learns to crochet because there's so many benefits from it, whether it's the fact that it's relaxing and calming, you can make beautiful things, and just being able to start with a ball of yarn and a crochet hook and turn it into a beautiful project, or the fact that you can make so many things and gift them and, have the gift of being able to give something to someone else.
Yeah, there's nothing better than being able to make something for somebody. Kiana says she remembers that her brother introduced her to you after she had started crocheting a couple years ago. Again, everyone's amazed at how fast you crochet. We got some new followers here, which is great. Everyone loves the blanket. We agree that it is beautiful. It's so nice to see you inspiring so many people as well.
It really is, and I'm glad people like the blanket. And there's a lot of different things in here that I wasn't quite sure on, so I tried out different designs, whether it was trying different joins or skipping the lace join in the center between the squares. But
Yeah, that's one of my favorite joins.
Yeah, it really is because it's not too lacy, but it also provides a little bit more open space between the squares, which doesn't make it seem too like in your face, and it kind of relaxes it a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't make it as heavy either. Do you want to give another gift certificate away?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
All right. Oh, hold on. Let me get screen. Okay. I'm going to start scrolling again. Why don't you tell me when to stop?
Okay. I think you could stop here.
All right. Joy Thomas. I'm not sure what Oh Great was in reference to, but Joy, you are a lucky winner of a $50 Furls gift card. So text us over at support@crochetfoundry.com and let Crystal know that you are one of our winners, and we'll get that emailed over to you. Excuse me. Serena says she's enjoying making the blanket. She loves the pattern and the colors. Just so everybody knows, we do have the colors available that Jonah used to make his blanket, but you can use any colors that you like. So if you head over to the site, I'll put the link for you guys again. You could pick any of our wander colors to make your blanket in. So we can't wait to see some other color combinations for the blanket.
Yeah, definitely. So we were also considering choosing like a gray for the background and choosing more muted colors like a light pink or a lighter blue to kind of go with it. And that's one of the best parts about this yarn. First of all, it's super soft and has a nice sheen to it, but you have so many different colors, which is great because you have a lot of base colors like this cream, white, gray, black, brown, and then a lot of fun, vibrant, and also more laid back colors as well. So you can make your own color palette, and I'm sure whatever you choose, it'll turn out great.
I don't think you can go wrong with all the beautiful colors of Wander yarn.
That's for sure.
Well, we wanted to say thank you again for joining us this evening. I know you have a lot going on. You have school and then everything with your business. So we love that you've taken the time to spend with us this evening. I want to say thank you and keep up the amazing work that you are doing.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share with all of you my Teza Throw.
I wanted to let everyone who's knowing as well that we at Furls are also going to be donating to Jonah's cause. We invite all of you as well. Every little bit helps. So every dollar that's raised goes further towards getting these very lovely and deserving children in Ethiopia a school to help them learn and to succeed in life. So can't wait to see all that you do in the rest of your career. And we will keep sharing everything you do with our audience.
Thank you very much for all your help and spreading my word and making sure that people go and look at the kid and choose their color palette and everything that you've done for me in general and my mom as well.
All right. Well, have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye to our audience.
Crochet away, friends.